Hey guys, it's Leanne. Welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here, and if you're not new then of course welcome back, and thank you so much for returning and hopefully subscribing by now at this point. So today's video is just a look on the eyes. This is a cut crease. I have tried to be as in-depth as possible. I know that cut creases can be quite difficult for some people. The more you practice, the more you get better, the more confident you become, and it's actually one of the easier eyeshadow looks I actually do now. It looks so complicated and so dramatic, and it looks like, you know, really looks like art, doesn't it? So if you would like to see that, then please keep on watching. So the palette that I'm going to be using today is the Stacey Marie and Be Perfect Cosmetics Carnival palette. So just those three shades. I'm going to be going in with the Morphe M433 brush, and I'm going to be taking the shade Liquor, which is this one. So I'm going to start off by packing down the shade Liquor just on the outer corners. And I'm taking this colour above my own natural crease, and I'm keeping it just in a circular shape. So now I'm just going to be blending over these edges just to make them a little less harsh. So I'm just pressing very lightly on top. So the brush is not pointed like this, the brush is more flat against the eye. And then I'm using circular motions and windscreen wiper motions. The next brush I'm going to be going in with is the Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to be taking the shade Chant, and that is just to blend this eyeshadow up to the eyebrow bone and to just soften these edges. And again, I'm just being very gentle, dipping back in and tapping off any excess. To make this shape be circular, I'm just tracing a C shape on the outer corner of the eye. The softer that you go with your blending, the more blown out and soft the eyeshadow look will be. So I'm just dusting over again the edge of the colour Liquor, which was the maroony plum colour that I put down first. So the next brush I'm going to be using is the Morphe Jeffree Star JS9 brush, and I'm going to be taking the last shade from this palette that I'll be using, which is this shade. So this shade is called Wasted. The reason I'm using Wasted is just to blend the darkest colour with the lightest colour. We need a colour that's in between both of them, and that's like a really good tip. If you ever want to make a really light colour and a really dark colour blend, then your best option is to get a colour that's somewhere in between the darkest and the lightest colour. Wasted is probably right in the middle of both of those two shades. And I'm keeping 50% of the brush on the darkest shade, so 50% on the shade Liquor and 50% on the lightest shade, which was Chant. And that is a blending technique that I learned from Mama Mitchell when I went to one of his masterclasses, and it's such an easy rule to remember. But if you ever want to blend two colours together, you just need to keep 50% of the brush on the first colour and 50% on the second. Now I'm going to be going back in with the Morphe M441 brush. I'm taking the shade Chant again, and that is just to dust over these edges. Again, I'm doing that C shape and I'm blending this right up to the eyebrow. Now I'm going to be going back in with the first brush, and I'm going to be taking the darkest colour again, and I'm just going to be re-intensifying this colour, because obviously when you do blending work, sometimes you blend away some of the original colour that you put down, and most of the darker colour is focused on the outer edge of the eye, and that is to give the eye dimension. I'm going to go back in now with the Morphe Jeffree Star JS9 brush. I'm just going to use whatever's left of the shade Wasted on this brush. So I've left this blank on purpose because all that I'm going to be doing is cutting the crease with this. It'd just be much harder work if I had to cut the crease over a load of eyeshadow, and it'd take me obviously more time. I'm going to go back in again with the Morphe M441. I'm just going to be using whatever's left of the shade Chant just to blend out the edges of this eyeshadow look. To cut the crease, I like to use the Zoeva 144 brush. It's a flat synthetic brush. Synthetic brushes do not actually soak up any cream or liquid product, so that's why this is a good brush to use. And I'm going to be going in with the P. Louise base to cut the crease, and this is in the shade Rumen 0.5. Put a little bit out onto my little palette, and then I'm going to be looking down into my little Jeffree Star mirror, and I'm starting on the inner corner of the eye, and I'm just going to place this brush flat against the eye. I'm going to be going in with a little bit more just to make sure that the whole base for the crease is fully opaque, meaning no eyeshadow is showing through. A good way to find out where your crease is naturally is to get your brush and just lightly press it into your eye, and it's the part where your eyeball like dips in. My crease is here. So with cut creases, you always want to take the cut above your own natural crease so that when your eyes are open, you will actually still be able to see the cut crease. You can't really see that one because it's not high enough, but with this one, you can see it here. I'm just going to be going back in and making this cut crease a little bit larger. And you really do just have to have a steady hand for this and take your time. Practice makes perfect. The good thing as well about using a rounded brush is that it sort of helps get the shape for you. If this was a square brush, I feel like it'd be a bit harder, but because it's a round brush, you can actually just pat the product into shape. And then when you come to the arch of your brow, make sure that the end of the cut crease dips down. That's going to help keep it in a round shape if you have the highest part, kind of like where your natural eyebrow arches, and then it dips down after that. Now, just to make blending a little bit easier, I'm going to be taking my ring finger and just tapping off any excess base. Just mattifies it and it helps the shadow transition. So it makes it a little bit easier for blending, because as you can see, that's gone into a lilac-y shade now because the base is mixed with the shade Liquor. I'm going to be going back in with the Morphe M433, and I'm going to be taking some of the shade Liquor again. That's just to darken up the outer corner. I'm going to be taking the Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to be taking the shade Chant again. And I'm just going to be pressing this just on the centre of the eye. And that is just to help the gold from the inner corner blend to the very deep dark purple on the outer corner. So to give it a more ombre, like gradient effect. Now I'm going to be going in with the Morphe Jeffree Star JS10 brush, and I'm going to be taking the shade Liquor again, and I'm just going to be pressing this as close to the lash line as possible. It's going to be a slanted eyeliner, so to start with, I'm just pressing this colour as close to the lash line as possible. The outer portion of this eyeliner goes thicker and goes up, rather than just having the eyeshadow going following the natural lash line around and down. If you do a gradient liner like this, it will actually give your eye a lift. I'm going to be going back in now with the first brush I used, going in with the shade Liquor again, and I'm just deepening up this outer corner again. There's a lot of blending to be done, there's a lot of back and forth, but the final result is worth it, because I don't think there's any eyeshadow look more standout or more stunning than a cut crease. So back in again with the shade Liquor, and this is just to deepen the inner corner of the eye. I'm going to be taking the Peaches and Creams pigment in the shade Fantasy. So that is what you see on the outer corner here. To stick down this pigment, I'm going to be using the NYX Cosmetics Glitter Primer. Again, I've just I've just squeezed out a little bit of that onto my palette. Pick up the glue, I'm going to be going in with the Real Techniques Multitask Eye Brush. You don't want this to be packed on the way the gold pigment is. You want it to just be sort of like scattered. So I'm just going to be placing this onto the outer corner of the eye. To pick up this pigment, I'm going to be going in with another fluffy brush. This is the Spectrum, the numbers have worn off, I'm sorry, but very lightly stamping this on to the outer corner of the eye. The next pigment I'm going to be using is the Peaches and Creams pigment in the shade Gatsby. To press the shade Gatsby on, I'm going to be going in with a flat brush, which is perfect for this, and again, it's in a rounded shape, so that will help when I'm pressing the pigment. It will help me not to smudge because it's so tight and compact, whereas if I go in with a big fluffy brush, I won't be able to stay on these lines that I've cut on the eyelid. Now, because I've cut the crease with the P. Louise base, this is still very tacky, so this pigment will actually stick to this cut crease. But I'm not being too hard with it because sometimes when you press a pigment too hard, it can dull the actual sparkle of the pigment, and the same with glitter. Even though I'm going in quite a few times back and forth, I'm only going very light on top. I'm not really pushing it in. I'm just sort of packing the pigment and patting the pigment on top. To make sure that this crease still looks very defined now that we've put the pigment over, I'm going to be going in with the Spectrum A17 brush. I'm going to be going back in with the shade Liquor. I'm just going to be tracing over where I've put that cut crease, and I'm being very, very steady and very, very light-handed with this. Just adds a little subtle bit of definition. So I'm going to go in with the Zoeva 234 Luxe Smoky Shader brush, and this is just a clean brush. Only really here in the corner, I've definitely got a bit too happy with that shade. I'm going to be going back in with the Morphe Jeffree Star JS10 brush, and I'm picking up the shade Liquor again. I'm just going to be pressing this on top. For the waterline, I'm going to be going in with the NYX Cosmetics Metallic Eyeliner Waterproof Pencil in the shade Black Metal. So I'm going to be setting this eye pencil with the Colour Drain Smoke Show palette, and I'm going to be using the shade Smokescreen. And I'm looking up as I do this, because if you look down, you're more likely to poke yourself in the eye. To set that black, I'm going to be going in with the Zoeva 226 Smudger brush. When I say set, all I mean is just patting this eyeshadow on top, and that just means it will usually last all day. Even though the pencil is waterproof, I just prefer to set all eyeliners really, because then you know it won't move no matter what temperature you're in or how long your makeup's on your face for. The next brush I'm going to be going in with is the Morphe Jeffree Star JS13 brush, and I'm just going to be running the shade Liquor just underneath where I put that black, and that is just to smoke it out and make it all blend. Now, as you can see here, there's a harsh black line, so I need to blend that into more of a round circular shape. I'm going to be going in with the first brush and taking the shade Liquor again, and I'm just going to be curling the black up into the outer edge of this eye. And then, as you can see here, there's quite a harsh edge, so that does need blending. So I'm going to be going back in with the Morphe Jeffree Star JS9 brush, and I'm going to be taking a little bit more of that shade Wasted. So just where this harsh line is here, that is something we don't actually want to see. I'm just doing my C shape now, just on the outer corners of the eye, and it just seems to make everything just flow a bit better, I'd say. Back to it now, I'm going to be going back in with the shade Liquor on the Morphe Jeffree Star JS13 brush, and I'm just running that underneath the black. So I'm going to be going in with the Fenty Beauty Full Frontal Mascara. And then now I'm going to be applying some false lashes. So these are from the brand Peaches and Cream, but I actually don't know which number or which style the lash is, so I apologise for that. So guys, this is the finished and completed look for today's tutorial. What do we think? Let me know in the comment section down below any feedback and any video suggestions for what I could do as my next video, if there's anything you really would like to see me do, or whether that's eyeshadow or base makeup or anything, or if a certain specific product you'd actually like me to review and try, then please let me know. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I hope that everyone learned something new today and enjoyed my video. But yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.